सो कंप्लीटिंग योर प्रेप एंड मैं पढ़ लूंगा, फिर मैं जब अच्छा मुझे लगेगा कि मेरा रिवीजन हो गया है सब, तभी मैं मॉक दूंगा. दैट इज नॉट व्हाट यू शुड बी लुकिंग एट. इट इज बेटर टू डिस्कवर दैट यू आर very bad at giving tests in the mocks than going to the mains exam and finding that out 1 year after you have invested a year. Content देना है. There is no ifs and buts there. Don't come out of the exam hall saying कि मैं वहां पे blank out हो गया. Nobody is going to have sympathy for you and nobody has time to listen to that.
I started my full-fledged preparation after I joined the Ultimate Assessment Program at Civilsdaily.
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 There is a 12-month strategy which I have done on Civilsdaily platform only.
I reached out to the Civilsdaily team.
Civilsdaily. Current affairs में Civilsdaily.
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 A mentorship program of Civilsdaily, and that did help me a lot.
The avoidance of mock tests. So the thing is that with your syllabus, there is going to be a lot of content going around in the market, and year on year, it is just going to keep increasing, right? So do not chase the myth of being able to complete the syllabus in its entirety. That is something that I think is not going to be possible. You will never be 100% ready with the syllabus. You can cover all the points given in the UPSC notification, but then the depth is endless. Like you can go to whatever depth you want to. You can do PhDs on a single topic. So focusing on mocks is going to be very important to being able to judge yourself whether you are going to be able to deliver in the real exam. It does not matter how much knowledge you have with you in the exam hall. It all boils down to how much you are able to reproduce on the paper. So, because in front of the examiner, you are not going to be able to give your bio data. It is going to be your simple answer sheet or your OMR sheet, which is going to give him an idea whether you know the thing or not. So, how do you practice what you are supposed to do in the mains exam, which is delivering content, is by giving mocks, right? So, completing your prep एंड मैं पढ़ लूंगा, फिर मैं जब अच्छा मुझे लगेगा कि मेरा रिवीजन हो गया है सब, तभी मैं मॉक दूंगा. दैट इज नॉट व्हाट यू शुड बी लुकिंग एट. इनफैक्ट when I was preparing, my mock tests used to not be aligned with my revisions at all. Like that is something I have to take care. कि अगर इस वीक मैं पॉलिटी पढ़ रहा हूँ, तो पॉलिटी पढ़ने के बाद पॉलिटी का टेस्ट देने में it's not a big thing. You will obviously get all the questions right. Like that is not something that you should be doing. But if I have prepared modern history 2 weeks before that, then I'm giving the test of modern history in the week that I've studied polity. That is going to be the true test of whether I'm able to recall what I've studied or not, right? So that is somehow you have to overcome that fear of not being able to score high marks. It is better to discover that you are very bad at giving tests in the mocks than going to the mains exam and finding that out 1 year after you have invested a year, right? So avoid that pitfall in its entirety, right? So why this fails as it's written here is there is no real-time decision-making skill which you will not develop unless you give mocks. This is especially true for the prelims exam. In the prelims exam, you will have to give a lot of guessworks, right? You will have to think through the question, look at what is written between the lines, speculate what the examiner is thinking, reject extreme keywords, focus on data fact. So all these things are not discovered somehow in the real exam. These are done countless times when you give your mocks. You analyze a trend कि okay, अच्छा मैं जब guess मारता हूँ तो 90% times I am end up with the right answer, or I should not guess at all क्योंकि मेरा guesswork बहुत poor है. So how will you discover these things? This is when you do it in a mock paper, right? This is when you read those questions. अभी मैंने sectional test दिया पॉलिटी का और उसमें मेरे 40 नंबर आ रहे हैं, तो दैट इज अ ग्लेयरिंग इंडिकेटर की पॉलिटी बहुत अच्छे से नहीं हुआ है. You have to revise polity. How will you know whether you're good at a subject or not? So mocks, it will tell your weaknesses, it will prepare you for the real exam, and then in that high stress environment, which is going to be the mains exam or the prelims exam for in your case, content देना है. There is no ifs and buts there. Don't come out of the exam hall saying कि मैं वहां पे blank out हो गया. Nobody is going to have sympathy for you and nobody has time to listen to that. ठीक है. So do all that thing and do all that blanking out and all those paper incomplete रह गया, ये सब mock test में कर लेना, so that you know that in the real paper you have one shot, so that you're able to deliver that content, right? And that obviously that elimination technique वाला जो है वो skill है, you have to do it over and over again. बार बार practice करोगे exam environment में, तो you will develop that skill of eliminating incorrect options, right? So as the insight goes कि it's a mirror. जैसे मैंने बोला, तीन चीजें हैं: आपके वीक एरियाज, आपको एग्जाम के लिए प्रैक्टिस करवाना, और उस एनवायरनमेंट में डिलीवर करना कंटेंट, बिकॉज देयर इज गोइंग टू बी नोबडी टू यू नो put their hand on your head and tell you कि it's all going to be all right, it's okay. ऐसा नहीं होगा. So you have invested a year, time is going to be very important for you. So make sure that when you go to the mains exam or the prelims exam, you are at the peak of your game. And investing time in mock tests, I think, is a very good way to do that, right? So that is the lesson. They are simulation tools. Go through that simulation over and over again. I would also strongly advise you to go for these all India mock tests. Sometimes तो मतलब I find that they are free most of the times. तो free में registration हो जाता है. Go to the center, go write their papers, and then you will sort of get an idea कि what is the real game, right? तो इस तरीके से first rule that and first thing that we should keep in mind is perfection is a myth. Syllabus will never be complete. We have to give mocks and we have to judge ourselves and improve ourselves based on mocks, right? So we'll come to the other second part. Just next, yeah. So this is one of the most important things. Once now, let's say that you have sense and now you have understood कि अच्छा मुझे mocks देने हैं. आपने फिर मॉक्स देना स्टार्ट कर दिया. अब आप मॉक्स लगाए जा रहे हो, लेकिन what is really important here? You have to understand that your weak areas जो है वो जो आपको आइडेंटिफाई करना है, आपको प्रैक्टिस करनी है, राइट? तो the main part of the mock is, one part is that you give the mock to discover कि अच्छा एग्जाम देते कैसे हैं. उसके बाद जो आपने गलतियां की है, you have to learn from them as well, right? Because that is something that you want to avoid in the future. So not taking your post-test discussion seriously and making the same mistakes again and again is one of the main reasons that people fail. And like, believe me that this seems very obvious, but I've seen people doing the same thing over and over again. मतलब मेंस में बार बार मार्क्स नहीं आ रहे हैं, लेकिन वही सोर्स पढ़े जा रहे हैं और वही गलती बार बार किए जा रहे हैं. इनफैक्ट आई वाज कॉल्ड अप बाय वन ऑफ माय फ्रेंड्स दीज डेज, जो अभी मेंस देने वाले हैं. एंड ही वाज लाइक कि मेरे 2 अटेम्प्ट से 2 साल से मेरे मेंस में मार्क्स ऑप्शनल में 250 है, 240 ही है. देन आई आस्क्ड हिम कि तुमने लास्ट टाइम से इस बार अलग क्या किया है? एंड इज लाइक कि मैं वही कर रहा हूँ, मेरा सिलेबस भी वही बच रहा है. आई वाज लाइक what are you trying to achieve? Like if anybody has played that video game Far Cry, उसमें वास करके कैरेक्टर है Far Cry 3 में. He says what is the definition of insanity? It is doing the same thing over and over again and this finding out and expecting different outcomes. So like that is not going to be possible. Okay? You have to make changes. There has to be something from your side also that you invest and you do, and then you reasonably can expect a positive return. So taking your post-test discussion seriously is going to be very important, because आपने जो गलती की है, whatever mistakes you have made in your prelims MCQs, or one dimension that you have not covered in your mains, for example, papers, that is going to be important for you to analyze and understand कि अच्छा ये हुई ये गलती. And I would also strongly suggest keep a notebook, or if you have a board in front of you, pin a paper of your A4 sheet paper, and write on the top of that कि अच्छा ये mistake I make and I have to analyze this and I have to make it correct. For example, in my optional paper, whenever there was a question on a philosopher, I used to consistently make this mistake where I would always forget to write the criticism. मैं हमेशा पॉइंट्स कवर कर देता था सारे जो क्वेश्चन में दिए हुए हैं, बट फ्रॉम माय एंड इन माय ऑप्शन इट इज एक्सपेक्टेड दैट यू राइट अ क्रिटिसिज्म. So I wrote on in front of me on my desk कि always forgetting to write criticism. Please make sure you write criticism in every answer. अब मैं रोज सुबह I'm going and sitting on my desk, I'm seeing that thing, it is ingrained in me कि okay, I make that mistake, I have to avoid doing that, right? So once you make a set of goals in front of you, you write what you have to change and make better. That ways you will be much better off in dealing with these mistakes when it comes to the real paper, right? And post test discussions are also important in the sense कि आपको revision में बहुत help करेगा वो. right? For prelims, especially when you make these mistakes in your simple MCQs, for example, कि कौन सी committee is coming under which body is coming under which ministry, or ये article which is representing some fundamental right. So these things are something that are a gap in your revisions. So you know, okay, what do I have to revise as well? So when you plan your revision sessions, you know what to do first or what not to do first. Otherwise, you will be confused as to what to start revising first or not. So you have to prepare alongside the revisions. Your revisions, mock test, and preparation should, all three things should be going side by side. So how do you plan that is based on the feedback that you get from these tests. If I'm giving a modern history test और उसमें मेरे बहुत खराब नंबर आ रहे हैं, तो the next thing that is in my mind is कि भाई modern history का revision session लगना चाहिए अगला. So I know that, okay, it should be revised before it's too late or before I lose the track of my preparation, right? And other thing that I can mention here, it's not given, but there is a positive angle as well. See, you will be preparing endlessly, but once in your post-test discussions and your mock tests that you start getting good results also. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि you're always getting bad marks. You will be getting good marks also when you start, filling those lacunas and you start revising timely. Your marks will be going upwards. That will give you some kind of confidence. अंदर से you will feel good, you will feel confident, you're on the right track, and then you will be on the D-day of the paper, any kind of self-doubt or apprehensions will not be there. And I think that is one of the a very big pillar of performing well in the exam is having belief in yourself, and that can only come from logical facts. You cannot fool yourself. Once you know, okay, I get good marks, I've gone through the post-test discussions, I have filled all the mistakes that I make, I have corrected them, then I don't think there is any reason for anxiety in the paper. Then it's just all on your hard work and your luck, right? So at the end of the day, by just giving mock tests but not focusing on what went wrong, that is going to be a very ill thought out strategy, right? So make sure that you keep revision, giving the mock test, and then finally focusing on what you should correct also. These three things should be part of one package. This should be your whole process. This should be the SOP of going through your preparation. So I would like, if you have to summarize this, then I would be like, if you wanted to prepare a particular aspect, uska source book padho, revision karo, us pe test do, and then go through the key of that test or analyze those mistakes that you have done and then correct them. And that is the end-to-end procedure of how you should prepare a topic or a thing or for an exam. That is the way to prepare for it, right? So feedback, corrections, and all these are important parts of the process. And make sure that you don't just give tests because practice karni thi, but you also analyze that.